We're back here for our second feature match of the week here for week 3. First one had two of the new players to our league. This one we have two, I'd say veterans by now, in Emmett or Sepulcher and Kevin I. So we do see Emmett taking a mulligan here. What's going on over in Kevin's hand?
He's got Mardu, it looks like.
Okay.
He's got a Swamp Mountain for lands, then a Lampad of Death's Vigil as a 2-drop,
That's a good one.
some removal spells, a Red Room, the Painter Studio, and a Shepherding Spirits, the Planecycler.
Okay, so has some stuff to do. Did have a mulligan here for Emmett. He does have a Wary Watchdog on 2. He has an Exorcise. He has lands, and then he has one of the best cards you could possibly have in Valgavoth's Onslaught. And for turn, he's drawn the White Overlord. So he's got some powerful stuff coming down the line here in the turns.
Kevin also had a decent draw in the Reckless Stormseeker, the
from Midnight.
Rare.
Okay. Yeah, so these players have decently high dread right now. I believe Emmett's I saw 70 cards, and Kevin's at 67. They're both like one of them 7-6, one of them 7-7. I guess that just means that they have been taking Duskmourn packs. Is that how they get the high dread? Or is it just the order in which they won their matches versus lose them?
I think they both have taken mostly Duskmourn. They've got, obviously, we see the Midnight Hunt and Theros card from Kevin.
Yeah.
So he's got at least one of each of those packs.
Yeah, because I spotted in the standings that they were close to each other, but there was somebody else who had like this exact same record, but was at 48 cards, which means that they probably just took all like Theros or Innistrad, the Shadows. So
yeah, or just went on a long winning streak, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. They could be just coming off of that. I guess Kevin is not really positioned to play a long game with that Lampad, but that Lampad was really good. Like that card, and I think it's still good today, honestly. He's deciding if he wants to keep a Scorching Dragonfire on top. I mean, normally you see a Scorching Dragonfire and you're pretty happy. He does have a Valgavoth Onslaught and an Overlord that he wants to get the mana for. And Scorching does not help him there, but he does keep it. Because he does have a land in hand for the next turn. So he's not missing his land drop. And he's going to be able to get this out of his life right away with the Cease from Slumber. Yeah, that's a scary card. I mean, that card's very reminiscent of the Enduring Courage from this set, right? Like very has a very similar impact on the game, which is you kill it or you take a lot of damage.
Yeah, it can also target itself, which it gives itself haste, which
I mean, Painter Studio is good, but it's not what you want to play the turn after your opponent makes 2/2/1 flyers and now is threatening this Overlord in a few turns.
So, he needed to hit a land drop there.
Yeah, and as soon as Emmett gets a land, he can make 2 4/4s with Valgavoth's Onslaught, so he's gonna be ramping up the threats here very, very quickly. So what are we? What are the options for Kevin? Do we think?
He's got an Osseous Stick Twister, which just looks like he's looking to cast right now.
Yeah.
He's got Nowhere to Run and Scorching Dragonfire for removal spells.
Yeah.
And he's also got the Glimmerlight.
His 2/2 lifelink probably meets the requirements for a Scorching Dragonfire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if Emmett gets an untapped land here, which he does, I think this game is going to be extraordinarily difficult for Kevin to come back from. I mean, already here attacking for 6 is bad for him, but this might seal it up here. So yeah, I mean, powerful cards do powerful things. That's funny. He found a disguised creature to put under his the face down. It's a I think it was called Essence of Antiquity. It was like a 1/10. It was a really weird uncommon that wasn't played very much.
Oh,
But I believe
It's
it
the
gave
one
your
that,
creatures hexproof when you untap when you turn it face
right.
up for 3. I think it turned face up for
I don't know if
3
I
rather than for the 5.
ever played that one in MKM.
Yeah, it wasn't a mover or a shaker. Let's just say that. But I mean, it was playable.
So yeah, Kevin's holding up his 2 removal spells here, the Nowhere to Run and Scorching Dragonfire,
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, the
obviously
4/4s don't
very
get it,
behind. Yeah.
and this exercise can just be used pretty freely here, and
Oof. I'll
he
probably
will.
do it.
I mean, yeah, no, he. I mean, I suppose Kevin will get to untap, but yeah, scorching that, block one of the 4/4s. But now we have the disguise to give it hexproof.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So I believe it says untap all your creatures and they gain hexproof, and it costs 3 to flip it up. Otherwise, it's 5 to
Right.
play it. Yeah, just all the numbers on that card are very strange. But when
Yeah.
that ability
Not
comes up, it's real good. And wow, wow to what I'm looking at here from Emmett here. With he has the enduring courage, balustrade worm. He has 2 of the white overlords, one of which we saw. So and a bunch of 2 drops.
I
So his 3 and 4 drops are a bit sparse. I mean, he has 3 threats around every corner, so that gets him up to the high end. Another scary looking deck here.
Kevin's looks like he's working with. He's got a Jolly Balloon Man. He's got a Red Overlord.
Okay,
He's
that's
got a
sweet.
Ghostly Dancers.
Ooh, all right.
Red of the Moth. 3 copies of Exercise. So he's got some removal that can deal with some of the threats if he can draw it. And yeah, again, pretty evenly split across the 3 colors.
Yeah, I mean, usually I talk about how I prefer to get down to 2 colors. There's a lot of fixing in this set, and with the higher deck size, it may be a little bit better to just have some more powerful cards than like playing your
Mm.
worst few extra cards of 2 colors. But yeah, Emmett. I mean, white is his. I wouldn't say that anything's a splasher, but white is his lowest of the 3 colors. But he is playing those 2 overlords that require double white. So yeah, definitely has a lot of good fixing here to make it work, and we saw no problems at all really with either player with their mana.
Mhm.
Haven't seen anything come in or out yet for Emmett, but he is looking at some things.
Yeah, Kevin has readied up for the next match. I
Yeah,
don't
that was
think he switched anything.
if I was to make a bingo card of things I might see in a league match tonight, flipping up an Essence of Antiquity that got manifested with a Valgavoth Onslaught was no, this is just not on the bingo card. Not on the first 5 bingo cards actually. But
It's not one you'd ever be able to foresee.
I mean, people didn't even play around that in MKM.
Oh
Like
yeah,
nobody played around that. I mean, Kevin may keep it in mind here, but I mean, often there's nothing he could do. Like he had to kill the creature there, so there was no like he
yeah,
had to attempt to
yeah.
kill the creature. But in a tighter game, he might make decisions with that in mind if something gets manifested. But it's such a small chance to manifest it anyway. What's Kevin working with this game?
Uh, kept a hand with 4 lands and then a 4 drop, 5 drop, and 6 drop. So he thankfully drew the Stick Twister on turn 2, and now he's drawn the Nowhere to Run.
All right, so a bit of
Um,
a
so
slow hand here for. I mean, he's got a moldering gym here for turn 3, and he's got 2 removals and the rest are lands. So he could play the moldering gym. He could kill a couple things. He has Dragonfire, Seize from Slumber, rest are lands. So he's going to be depending on the top of his deck to give him some things to do other than kill a couple creatures. And it looks like Kevin's going to just be able to deploy cards for the next few turns. So let's see if the removal
he's
lines
got a
up with the creatures.
he's got an Infernal Phantom lined up for next turn.
Oh, that's a good Dragonfire target.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's drawn an exercise, but yeah, imagine he's just
Yeah,
gonna be
Infernal
dropping this down.
Phantom is it's worse than it ended up playing out worse than I thought it would. I thought it would be like a pretty good
Yeah,
role player, and it's just like it's a little too slow, I think. And there's a few too many like
yeah,
good ways around it, like ways to kill it without exiling it or without having the trigger, such as Dragonfire and a bunch of others. So he did
yeah.
draw a Spine Seeker here, so he gets to get some board presence and get another land. Next turn he gets to make a 5/5, and yeah, his hand, which looked a little clunky, ended up being just fine,
So Kevin's got a Razorkin Horde Collar and a Fear of Burning Alive. He did
but
not
not
draw
the
a fifth
land.
land though.
Yeah, that Horde Collar would have
So
been. I mean, it would have got Seeds from Slumber, but it would have at least put a bit of pressure here, which right now he's not
right.
putting. Another land here for Emmett, not exactly great, but he does get to make a 5/5 here. So three lands and a Seize from Slumber left in hand. If he ever draws Valgavoth Onslaught, it's going to be absolutely massive. I'll tell you that much.
Right. Oh, he drew a tap land.
That's not what you like to
So he's
see.
got exercise, so he can get rid of the 5/5 here.
I mean, yeah, probably will attack with the Manifest. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm guessing not a creature under there.
Um, I think it was.
It was a
Was
yeah,
it a land?
it was
Oh,
a
it was
Kato
a yeah.
Studio.
The enchantment.
He does get the Delirium now, which is
Yeah.
kind of irritating for Emmett.
If he doesn't
He's chosen to
have anything
discard a
to do with
card. He
the
has three
enchantment,
lands in
he could.
hand. He could also sacrifice the yeah the room. So, do you have any thoughts about this found footage card? I'm seeing people play it more than I imagined it would see play.
I played it, I think, in my pre-release deck,
Okay.
and that was about the only time I've ever played it. I feel like there's just so many other things that do a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, it's a step up from Lens of Clarity, which is like the card from Khans of Tarkir, which was an artifact that all it did was let you look at face down creatures and had no other text.
Right.
We get a step up from that, but I mean, in the most dedicated Delirium decks, I guess it's okay. In your 70 card, three color league deck, I suppose it can do just enough. I just, in 2024, it doesn't strike me as a card I would want to put in my deck very much.
Right. Ooh,
But it's not a
Ghostly
blank. It's
Dancers
definitely not
is
a.
the draw here.
Okay, well, we do have a Seize from Slumber here, which is going to get rid of that thing. And the last card in hand for Emmett, aside from his land, so he has a land and an exercise, which can hit the stick twister. So if he wants to stop taking damage from it,
Right. So he decides to go with the Razorkin instead of the Ghostly Dancers.
all right, not a bad draw
Uh,
here unless Kevin has removal, but he's got a Moldering Gym weight room here, so he gets to make another 5/5.
he's got the Fear of Burning Alive and the Ghostly
And he's
Dancers.
he just lost two removals off the top of his deck. Scorching Dragonfire and Seize from Slumber are gone, but he has a 5/5, and I think what he's thinking about. Okay, he's thinking about exiling the. I mean, not thinking
Wow.
about he did, but
I
the
mean, yeah, he had
defaced
no way of
gallery.
knowing the Ghostly Dancers was coming, but that ended up being a pretty good play.
Yeah, I mean, Ghostly Dancers is still the play here. Yeah, this card just makes absolutely no sense. This card makes what in the world is this card?
Yeah.
Oh, well, speaking of what in the world is this card?
Yeah.
We got an Overlord has appeared here, and unless I mean I think you just hardcast it next turn. Yeah, Ghostly Dancers. If you have like a room in play, it's like a 5 mana 2/5 with a 3/1 that adds like 4 mana to your mana pool or something like that.
Yeah,
and
it's ridiculous.
often makes another body with it because there's multiple rooms that make tokens or that manifest. Yeah, I think I came across it the first time in the pre-release on turn 5. They just played it, manifested Dread with the blue, the slimy aquarium, and played a 3-1. And then I looked at my cards in my hand. I was like, yeah, I don't think I need to play this game anymore.
Yeah,
That was your turn 5. Okay, I guess I'm dead.
yeah, it's it is one of the magic cards of all time.
Yeah, it's just a card that steals games in limited. Like it's not a card that like is for anything else aside from limited, but it absolutely steals games. I mean, Emmett's gonna fight the good fight here with a bomb of his own. So
Yeah,
interesting that Kevin wants to block here. Okay,
notably when he returned the enchantment to his hand from his graveyard, he undid his delirium.
yeah. So do we have more enchantments to get more tokens here?
He drew the Lampad of Death's Vigil, which I think is an enchantment.
Yes, I imagine he's just gonna play the card from exile here.
Yeah, he's. Oh
Oh,
no,
okay,
he's going with the extra 3/1.
okay. That actually works very well with the Lampad, right? The Lampad can sack
Yeah,
things and it'll just
it
trigger
can
the Egotist.
it can drain for a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Egotist can sack a creature or an enchantment, and the Lampad can sack just a creature. So he is trapped in the screen here as the draw. Thank you. Like, there's so many things you
May
have to
just be
address
able
here.
to burn him out with the triggers from Egotist. He's got the Fear of Burning Alive as well for an extra 4 damage.
Okay, yeah, yep, yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, because
Yeah,
Lampad
he
is
had
just
plenty of
pay 1 generic mana and sack a creature to gain 1, lose 1.
yeah, and you'll get double triggers for each one with the Egotist. So each creature drains for 2.
I think Emmett's deciding if he can even attack here, and he's saying maybe I can. Okay. I mean, he's not going to win the game by sitting back. He can see his on his opponent's board, right? His opponent has presented basically a face-up plan that can end the game over a series of turns. Yeah,
I think you're at 28 life. I think he just let the 4/2 through, but he's choosing to block here.
interesting that he's giving up the
Yeah, no, I
egotist
feel like it's
because the
gotta be
egotist
correct to
requires
keep the
black
Egotist
mana,
on the
right,
field.
to
Yeah,
activate, so he
can't
can't
give.
activate it. I feel like egotist would have been pretty valuable. I mean, his life total is not in danger, but
Yeah, I think he had almost lethal on board if
yeah.
he didn't block at all
So
that turn.
so this was Emmett just clearing the board, basically saying, "I'm going to attack. If you want to kill my stuff, you're going to lose a bunch of creatures, and that's a bunch of land pad triggers that you're not going to be able to take advantage of." So Kevin's deciding if this Ghostly Dancers is worth more in his graveyard than it is in exile, and he concluded that it absolutely is. And now, without really a way to get in these 8 points of damage, um, Emmett has 4/2/1 flyers. I mean, Emmett pressed the issue, right? He attacked. He said, if you want to kill my overlord and if you want to kill my hand that feeds, then you need to give up your creatures, and that means you can't sack them to the land pad. So he basically carved his own route out of a bad situation by attacking.
So Kevin here, if this Lampad goes to the graveyard, I believe we'll give him Delirium for the Fear of Burning Alive.
Yeah, and that is half of Emmett's poor little life total.
Yep.
Yeah, so no, I do commend him on attacking in that way. I know me, I tend more on the safe side. Like if I'm at whatever he was at, like 11 or something, and my opponent has these things that can drain me on board, I'm just going to be sitting back and being like, well, I can't attack because they could attack me back because like opponent was at like 30, but Kevin blocked. So, he attacked. Kevin wanted to get that overload off the board, trade two things, two less triggers for Lampad, Egotist gone. So game looks a lot different than it did the turn before.
Can the Lampad target itself?
Yeah, it can sacrifice itself.
Okay, so now that he's at 6 life, I think Kevin has lethal in hand if he just plays the Fear of Burning Alive and then sacks both of them.
Yeah, that would work.
Deal the last 2
Yeah,
damage.
and with just a land here for Emmett, looks like he's run out of choices. I mean, like I said, kept himself alive, um, in a way that maybe some players would have not been able to assess the need to do. But
Mhm.
you know, the Lampad's still going to get a good portion of the job done. Yeah, even just this with the fear is
Yeah,
lethal.
now he can just play the Fear.
Yeah, so don't need the delirium this time. I just want to deal you 4. Yeah, I mean, first game we had some bombs from Emmett, and now Kevin showed his own bomb here with the ghostly dancers.
Mhm.
Bringing in a Shard Mage's Rescue, it looks like perhaps, or maybe he already had one. I saw him take out the 5/4, the green 5/4. Maybe there was a bunch of exile removal that doesn't work well against. All right, he's bringing in a tricksy card here, Untimely Malfunction.
Mm,
This is a card that like goes from like it rots in your hand and you lose the game to I randomly just get to mess somebody's game up and potentially turn the game around
right.
with one silly little card. So it's up and down type of card.
Kevin just sticking with the same deck. I will note that looks like he is actually a little bit lighter on white. White is more of a splash, even though he does have the Ghostly Dancers.
Yeah, hard to call it a splash with double symbols, but yeah, it could be the least of his colors. But Ghostly Dancers is like a card that there's not that many cards that merit warping your mana base for, but that is on a short list, I would say. Pretty nice hand here for Emmett with Manifest Dread here. He has Ticket Booth to manifest again next turn. He has threats around every corner and say its name and lands. What's uh, what's Kevin working with
Kevin,
here?
he kept a very slow hand once again. His first play, as it stands, will be on turn 4.
Yes.
He's got the Plane Cycler in hand, and then a Rip Chain Razorkin, Conductive Machete, and Infernal Phantom.
Yeah, so he's going to be quite a bit behind then. I mean, he Emmett's going to get
Yeah,
to play threats around every corner next turn, then say its name, and he is now potentially manifesting an Overlord of the Mistmoors. He could put it in
oh
his graveyard to
gosh.
get it back with say its name. Does not have white yet, but threats around every corner can find him one white source. He did put it in the graveyard there. He put the hand that feeds under the manifest.
Kevin drew the Razorkin Horde color. Not what you want to see.
No. Yeah, so with he's drawn the plane cycler here, so he will eventually have access to white mana if he wants to get back that overlord with say its name. But I mean, in the meantime, he's just gonna attack his opponent. Yep, so attack for 4, play another 2/2. Yeah, threats around every corner. That's a card I like.
Yeah, that card's great.
I am glad that in 2024, 4 mana 2/2 that goes and gets a land is still a card we can play
Right.
because there's a lot of cards from the past that I like that you can't really don't really stand up anymore in limited nowadays. Yeah, this Infernal Phantom's probably going to get scorched, and the game's going to be looking hopeful here for Emmett.
Yeah.
He gets to
Drew an
play, he
exercise.
even gets to play the
Oh,
Moldering Gem he drew for turn. So, or he might Plane Cycle. Not sure. I mean, Moldering Gem seems completely fine. Yeah, yeah. So now he doesn't have to Plane Cycle; he can just cast it, and yeah, just play a 2-drop, play a 3-drop, play a 4-drop, and have your opponent be slow. I mean, that's That is a classic Magic strategy that has worked since the beginning of the game, right? I play
Yep.
stuff, my opponent doesn't play stuff. Oh well. And being on the play always helps as well.
Yeah, Kevin kept the slow hand for game two. It ended up working out, but looks like this time he just didn't quite draw the early game plays that he needed to keep
Yeah.
up.
I mean, something like the Ghostly Dancers he played went a long way,
Yeah, that'll stabilize you pretty
but it
quickly.
sounds like he doesn't have anything to pull him back as much as a Ghostly Dancer
Yeah,
or something like that
unfortunately
would.
he can't double spell here. He drew a Ragged Playmate, which is a 2-drop, but
Yeah, sounds like he could play blockers or play that guy, and he says, "Let me attack. I'll just jump with my 1/1. I gotta do something here." Well, that's a fun card too that he's drawn. The Flourishing Bloomkin, which is another disguise creature.
ooh,
That's the one that
that
goes
was a
and
good
gets
one.
forests out of your deck. A couple of fun disguise creatures here. I'm enjoying that.
Is the threats worded where the disguised creature will trigger it
Oh, yeah,
as well, or is it just
absolutely,
manifest?
it
Oh, it's just any
absolutely
face
does.
down.
Yeah, it's whenever a face
Okay,
down creature enters, so it works with all previous things that create face down
nice.
creatures. So he decided to just play Say Its Name, get back the Overlord here, and basically demand more or less a board wipe from Kevin in order to continue playing.
Yeah,
There's
unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's got any way to
there's
deal with this
yeah,
board
there's
state.
basically like no combination of like two cards even that could could do it. Just needed a board
If he
wipe.
had some enchantment, maybe Ghostly
Yeah,
Dancers.
so pretty impressive showing here from Emmett with his face down heavy deck here in Game 3, and he's about to challenge Valgavoth. So we'll be back in a few moments with the showdown.